Knicks and Bruises, we are back. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. Look at this panel I got for you guys. I got the Queen, as always, Shuttle in the building. He's been gone for a minute. And then, speaking of gone for a minute, the delusional one, delusional Knicks fan. Man, thank you guys for joining me. Welcome to Knicks and Bruises.
Of course.
And welcome back. Oh,
Yes,
man.
sir.
The Knicks, they beat Orlando Magic 100-91. Let me shout out to Sim as well. He didn't do a post game, so we're gonna talk about that game, get our thoughts on across on that. Um, Captured the third seed. We're gonna talk about can we maintain that third seed now that we've finally got over that hurdle. It felt like we couldn't catch Orlando, let alone Boston and Cleveland. So it's good to finally get into that third spot. Let's see how far we could take it and can we keep it. But panel, how you guys doing? Let's start with Queen. I got one more guest to bring in here.
What's up? How you doing?
Jan Mitchell
Good.
from the
How are you?
Knicks Cave.
How you
Salute,
doing?
brother.
What
It's
up,
been a
what up?
minute.
Been a minute.
Yeah, Queen. How you feeling? How you been?
I've been good. I've been good. Been busy, dealing with some losses. So that's always tough. But enjoying watching the Knicks, liking what I'm seeing. Taking the approach that they're in process. So that definitely helps me stay even keel throughout the season. So yeah, I'm good.
No doubt. Shut up.
Yo, all aboard. Glad to be back. Yo, Black is Tom. You know the vibes. Yeah, it's been a busy couple of weeks. I mean, I think last time I talked to you was before I even went to ATL. So, I went to ATL, bought some moves out there, and I mean, the missus just checking out what ATL got to offer, and who knows? Could be making a power move and be part of the New York takeover down in ATL soon. You heard?
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, but other than that, man, Knicks have been looking good, and looking forward to chopping up about the most recent game and everything else that's on the agenda.
No doubt. No doubt.
Glad glad
Delusional.
glad to beat the Magic though. That's to me, that's a must win when you got a team that you're fighting for, position in the playoffs. They've been playing pretty well, and they don't even have their best players. So um,
Right.
these wins could be critical for positioning.
Right. That's a good point.
Tone, I appreciate you giving me this outlet. Just happy to be back and talk Knicks, man. I've been traveling for work, haven't put out content over a year, so I'm definitely I got a lot to say about this Knicks team. Definitely a lot to say, but thank you.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Welcome back. And speaking of welcome back, Jan, man, how you been? It's been a
I've
minute.
been good hanging in there. Excuse me, trying to get my show off, but gotta be more consistent. Just want to say what's up to everybody.
Salute.
Thanks for having me on the show, and hope I can put some valuable input.
And of course, man, glad to share the platform. Whenever you want, you let the people know what your platform is and what it's about. And
The Knicks cave, bro.
all right.
All right.
Um, yeah. Let's talk about this Orlando game, man. The Knicks have had some luck this year. Let's keep it 100 as far as their opponents being undermanned, missing key players and pieces. But at the same time, we've lost some of them games as well. So I'll take every win as we get it. You know what I mean? We face the team that's in front of us. And even with their losses, they remind me, Orlando does, of us last year, where you know what I mean, they will lose a guy and somebody steps up in that spot. Suggs, he didn't really perform last night, but he's kind of stepped up in the absence of his bigs. So I wasn't taking them lightly. You guys mentioned where they are in the schedule. I mean, in the standings. So we needed that win. We captured that third seed. But what y'all feel about anything stand out in that game? I got a couple of them, but I'll let you guys go first. We can start with the two guys who's been gone the longest, Jan and then Delusional, and we'll go up to Shadow and Queen.
Other than the fouls and have Mosley complaining about 30 times of Knicks going to the line, he's supposed to go to the line about 60 times, really. It was an interesting game. Being that Banchero's out, the other Wagner, I thought the Knicks should have really the last time we beat Scott, the last time we played them, we blew them out. I thought we should have had an easy win, but the foul and it was a good game. The Knicks proved that they can play under duress. I'm waiting for that Minnesota game. Really, that's the game I'm really waiting for. But this game was a good test, and the way they came out, they should be able to handle Minnesota. I think this. All right, my biggest problem right now with the narrative with the Knicks, I'm not changing the subject, but it's people talking about the bench. You know what I'm saying? And I think if the bench really played, that our bench would be better, and I think we would be more competitive, especially competitive against teams like Orlando. You see how their bench players come out. Like what? It was a rookie came out, a guy Silver. I ain't gonna lie, I wanted the Knicks to take a look at him in the draft. 18 points? It seemed like every time we play a team, one of their rookies come out and drop a career average, points. And I just get upset with Tibbs for him not utilizing all the players that we have. Because I think if he was to start going, size for size sometimes, or like when we go to the bench, go to the bench, you know what I'm saying? Give the team a little confidence. But that game against the Orlando Magic, I think is a game that's going to just get us through the season, that every time we go through the foul, the no calls from the refs, it seems like they can do what they want to our players, and soon we touch them, it's a whistle blown. So that was a game that I think is going to help the Knicks, with this new officiating this year. So yeah, I like that game.
To your point, I do think the MO against the Knicks has been play physical, and a lot of teams have been coming in and trying to out physical us. And they seem to try that as well. It got chippy, just like the last game got chippy. Obviously, Mo Wagner, him and Cat got something going on, because this is 2 games in a row they've been kind of jarring at each other. Tibbs is gonna play. He's gonna lean on the guys he trusts the most. Because it sounds like you want him to play the bench more, maybe even out the minutes a little bit more. Is that
exactly? Look at Kolek. Kolek just dropped 30 points the other day. The Westchester Knicks. Ryan put up 18 points. Dottie was splashing threes. I mean, if we seen the same thing last year when we had the other rookies, even with McBride. You know what I'm saying? McBride was in the G League dropping 30 points, doing what he do, and it took injuries for Tibbs to say, you know what, like, I'm gonna put you in. Now, if he started playing these guys often early, they have the confidence. You know what I'm saying? They'll be able to come out, not worry about if I'm making mistakes, I'm getting snatched out. I think it would be a better, team. I think the bench would be better if he gave them team guys a little more playing time.
All right, Delusional. Tell me about the game, and then if you want to respond, if you want to piggyback off of anything Jan said.
I thought it was a solid win, especially coming from that play, not the play-in, the tournament where we took that L to Atlanta. So we actually came out with emotion. Brunson came out with energy. You saw it, that fire. They was playing tough on him, and he showed up. Cat with 22 and 22. Dominant, 1-2 punch. So we definitely came out with that energy and that effort, which was definitely needed, because I definitely questioned that Atlanta Hawks game, even down to the coaching aspect of Tibbs, of where Atlanta kind of went big. You didn't really see any adjustments to that. So during this game, there was definitely quite adjustments. And Orlando is a tough team, believe it or not. They haven't lost a home game, so that's their first home loss. So, the Knicks being able to knock them out at home definitely played a role. So hopefully this is just a stepping stone for them to kind of gain some confidence and just develop better unity and kind of move forward, because we tend to play up and down certain times. Certain games we expect to win. We don't know what occur. Something just occur, and we don't execute. So hopefully this is something that we could build on.
Yeah, I agree. I forgot what loss it is. I kept referencing it the past couple of shows, but ever since that loss, whatever loss after the Denver game, after the Denver win, I was like, I'm not taking no teams lightly. You know what I mean?
Had to have been that Utah game.
Was it Utah?
I think it was that Utah game, because I thought it was an easy win myself.
Yeah. But after that, I'm like, you know what? I'm just taking a game by game and looking for the improvements, because the team has improved. You know what I mean? Whether it's a loss or a win or a streak or whatever, this team has been improving as the season progressed. So I'm really looking at it as the end goal, where we at the end of the year. And I'm not taking no more teams lightly. Or shut up. What's good?
You're muted.
The team hasn't been amazing on the road, so any road win is a good win as far as I'm concerned at this point. Wagner, the better Wagner, if you will, was out. Paolo's out, so you would want to think that this would be an easy win, but I'm not really stressing the easy win, the whole easy win thing. Win the game, play tough, show the resiliency. I'd rather honestly see a resilient win versus too many easy wins, because then if you're not built with that level of adversity when you get down to the end of the season and a playoff run and and so forth at that time, April, May, June, then you're not really built for that. But you have a season full of close wins, then you kind of know what to expect. One thing I do want to comment on, was Jan? Talked about playing more players and that whole thing. And don't get me wrong, there are definitely some games when I'm like, but at the same time, listen, you gotta keep in mind, Cat is a new player to this team. Bridges is a new player to this team. Campaign is a new player to this team. You got so many new moving parts already amongst the what we'll call the core must-play players. Squeezing in the rookie players in addition to that, to me, is a lot. I think that if Shamit would have been here, he probably would have been getting some minutes. And I think when he returns, he will get some minutes. If Mitch were here, he'd be getting some minutes. So, I think those two injuries are significant in terms of the rotation. But yeah. Do I look at other teams playing rookies and see them getting busy? And I'm like, I'd love to see one of our rookies out there playing. Yeah, but at the same time, there's so many moving parts. I'd rather the team focus on the main players getting the cohesiveness that they need. And, a lot of these teams, like, training camp ain't what it used to be, preseason ain't what it used to be. So, the first 5-10 games is like preseason, basically. You know what I mean? And you gotta get your mojo and get your way. So I'm cool with it. And at some point in the season, somebody's gonna be out, and one of these guys that are not getting minutes are going to get minutes. It happens to almost every team every year. So, we're not even 30 games in, and I look forward to seeing some of these young guys, step up and be unsung, unexpected, hero for a day, or have some impact when the playoffs come.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, but my being when people talk about the bench playing, like when he do play, it's usually a 7-man rotation. We talk about 8, but Jericho Sims probably get no more than 5 minutes per quarter. Sometimes 1 minute coming in. When the bench do come out, we always see a collective guys, Anunoby or Bridges or Towns. It's maybe 3 of the starters in with 2 of the bench players. Kolek, I think he can really run the court. You know, he can run the ball. You know, he would look more for passing. He can score. He's underrated in scoring.
Yeah,
And I
but
think
you already have Payne and Bridges playing in the backcourt.
this is what I'm saying. But hold on, let me finish for a second.
Right.
And McBride, excuse me.
McBride, like you said, when the guys somebody get hurt, right, and when they come in, they're gonna be playing their preseason because they're getting no run, no burns, no confidence from the coach. So when they come in and God forbid it's playoff time, they're gonna be playing their preseason. They're gonna be catching up to the other guys. So this is what I'm saying. Like, I'm even thinking about player management with our guys. Even though I'm glad we in third, I'm talking about, okay, we can rest Cat this night. We in a position. Like, if you're going to play an 8-man rotation until we get our full strength back, Mitch Robinson, Shamit, because he's looking like he'd be back in another, hopefully, month. So you can start player management. Right now, we are in good position. I don't think we will fall no further than 5th. I'm just hoping we don't fall no at all. But start giving Cat that day off. Come back, you have Brunson. Same time we acclimate, especially if it's a team that we supposed to beat. You know what I'm saying? Give the guys the confidence that they need, that just in case one of the guys go down in the playoffs, they're not playing a preseason game in the playoff time. That's all I'm saying. Because that's what they're going to be for them. Their emotions, their anxiety, everything's going to be up, the pressure, and knowing that one mistake, Tibbs is pulling you. And then what's happening?
Ideally, that's a great idea, but it's not like we're at full strength and been dominating teams. Like I said, we faced a lot of teams that have been missing their main guys, and it's not like we've been wiping the floor with them either. You know what I mean? We've lost some of those games, so I don't know if we're in a position currently. Like, if we were at full strength, ideally, I think that would be cool, great, but
the other game we lost in Atlanta, we was almost down by 11 points with 1 minute and some change left. He ran our starters till the game was over. There was no way we was coming back. And them guys was fouling like they was playing on the football field.
They can play more garbage, man. I agree with that. I'll give you that. Saying? They can play more garbage.
He got to know when to pull the guys in, let the other guys play. I'm just saying, he just gotta do better with our rookies, man.
I just watched the game today. I didn't even really get to really watch it last night. But I seen Twitter. I seen Knicks fans talking about him playing the starters last night. And guess what? It was 1 minute and 10 seconds left, and the game got cut to 8. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I was thinking about the same. Trust me, I was thinking about it.
Tibbs is, if he feels like there's a chance, either way, to come back, he ain't taking his guys out. If he thinks there's a chance that they could fumble the lead, he's not taking them out. But let me give Queen the floor, and then we'll move on. But feel free to give your input on this conversation.
Nah, as well. I've been talking to not.
Last night's game, I thought, Orlando, as usual, was very physical. And I thought it took the Knicks some time to become physical. I think the first time we played them, the Knicks came out physical. You have to match their physicality if you want a chance to win. I think it took the Knicks maybe a quarter or two to kind of match the physicality. They got blown out by the Knicks. So even without their 2 best players, they were coming with a lot of energy. So I didn't expect that the Knicks would blow them out this time. They have a lot of pride. They're NBA players as well. So, the main thing for the Knicks is to get the W. I think, stylistically, you blowing teams out. This, to me, at this point, it means get the win. The Knicks are still gelling. They still learning each other. They still trying to get their chemistry down pat. If you can win while you're learning, that's great. And I think that's what's happening with the Knicks. The Knicks are nowhere close to their ceiling, where I expect them to be, even offensively. I don't think they're at their ceiling. Defense is better. The defense is getting better as time goes on. The Knicks I know we focus a lot on defensive rating, and right now I think the Knicks have moved up to 16. But when you look at opponent points in the paint, 5th. Opponent fast break points, 5th. Points in the paint, I think they might be 12 or 13. But opponent fast break points, they're 5th. opponent points off turnovers. I think they're third. There's another metric that's escaping me. Second chance points. Opponent second chance points. The Knicks are fifth, right? The rebounding. Obviously, you have to look at defensive rebounding percentage. The Knicks are 12th. Definitely not as good as last year, but still, 12. You look at some of these other teams. I was comparing the Knicks in these metrics against Boston, Cleveland, Orlando in the East, and the number one team in the West, which is OKC. And you can see some teams are up in some metrics and down in some metrics. And the Knicks are in the Eastern Conference, ahead of Boston in some of these metrics. As far as rebounding is concerned, OKC, as good as their defense is, they're like 28th, 29th in rebounding. So I think, again, the Knicks haven't hit their ceiling offensively or defensively. I think they're going to get better. Brunson looked more like his aggressive self. I think, there's some games where Brunson, to me, seems to be too, I'm not going to say lax, but just not as assertive. So I still think he's trying to find the balance between the assertiveness and the scoring and the passing, because he has around him. I know we're not talking about Atlanta, but to Delusional's point, when it comes to Thibodeau in that game, it wasn't so much the height for me as much as it was, more schemes to get Brunson open versus Dyson Daniels, taking more advantage of Trae Young. I think he was guarding, was it Josh Hart or whoever? So putting him into action, more. And there was one other thing. I remember I had three things that I would have liked Thibodeau to be. And Thibodeau was my guy. I'm not down on him. I think he's the right coach for the job. And everybody said he's not a championship coach, but neither was Phil Jackson until he won a championship. Neither was Moses Malone until he won one. Neither was the coach from Milwaukee until he won. Like, none of these guys were championship coach until they won a championship, right? But those are things, at least in the Atlanta game, I like to see. And the last thing I'll say is I'm with Tibbs on not playing the rookies. Listen, if you wanna put them in to try to buy minutes for a Hart, or because remember, Towns' minutes is not up because he has an adequate backup. Brunson minutes is not up. He's 34, 35 because he has an adequate backup. It's OG, Bridges, and I'm missing one, Hart. They don't have adequate wing backups that Tibbs trusts. Now, don't get me wrong. The rookies can come in and give you good minutes, and they have. They have come in and give you good minutes. But the longer you play them, the longer they get exposed, only because it's the nature of rookies to be up and down. That's just what it is. So I'm not really worried about getting these rookies ready for the playoffs, because if the Knicks are serious about winning a championship, they're going to have to do something with this bench for the playoffs, and the rookies ain't going to be it. If you're serious about winning a championship, you need to do something with that bench. But again, spot minutes, try to buy these guys, some time so that they're fresher in the fourth quarter. Yeah, I'm good with that. But a regular part of the rotation to try to groom them for the playoffs, no. If the Knicks have to play the rookies in the playoff, other than like spot minutes because somebody got injured that day or somebody got in foul trouble, we're in trouble anyway.
I don't think so.
All right. I mean,
I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm it's not that I don't agree. I just think that the same thing we seen with McBride, the same thing we see with Quickly. Quickly, what his contract is right now? Just think about it. Like,
Quickly played from the beginning, though.
No, he didn't. He didn't step up. Who was on the? Who we had? We had Alfred Payton, right? We had Alfred Payton.
He might not have started, but he was playing 20-something minutes.
He didn't play until what's got hurt. I forgot who was he was kind of frustrated. Him and Toppin was the two players. Well, Toppin, he wasn't really gone. Why? But as his defense started stepping up and he started scoring more, and the crowd started calling more for Quickly, Tibbs went to him. And the only reason,
but he played from the beginning. He played from the beginning.
Absolutely, he played 20 minutes a game his rookie season.
That's 5 minutes a quarter.
Well, I mean, that's playing.
That's
what I'm saying. That's 5. Kohler can get 5 minutes a quarter, and I guarantee he can turn into not maybe quickly, but he would be better. You have to look at his pedigree.
Let me ask you this question. In order to play Kolek 5 minutes, who are you taking 5 minutes from in the guard rotation?
Because my thing is I would like for Tibbs to play when Shamit and Mitchell Robbins come back. I'm hoping he play a 9-man rotation. So
don't dodge that question.
No. We're talking about.
I'm not dodging that. That's leading up to my answer.
Right now, who do you want to take those 5 minutes
I'm about to say you can go Hart. You can take a Hart because you can go with Hart. You
so
can
now you playing a rotation.
A 3-guard lineup.
Will you put Campaign, 6'2", 6'3" Campaign, a 6'2" Deuce McBride, and a 6'2" Kolek at the same time?
Well, Campaign got to be on the floor. We can have McBride and Kolek, and we can still have Hart in there. We can still got McBride. I mean, not McBride. Chua and Cat, because you know he's going to. First of all, you know he's going to throw even. As you watch Tibbs, he got even one of the Brunson or Cat with the bench, or like when he played them one off of one another. Is even going. One of them guys is going to be with the second unit on the floor.
That. So you're taking the 5 minutes from Campaign.
I want to see what Kolek got. Yeah, I'm being real. I want to see what he got.
If
you're a championship
team, hold up, but see, this is what I'm saying. We're early in the season. We're a quarter into the season right now. We're in third place right now. We got to see what they got because I'm telling you.
Why do we have to see what they got?
Because I'm not wishing anything bad on the Knicks, but I've been a Knicks fan for over 25 years now, and I've seen it happen too many times. When we got to the playoffs, our main guys got hurt, and nobody else can step up. We can go back to Stoudemire. We can go back even the last 2 years with Anunoby getting hurt. We can go back with Mitchell Robinson. These guys don't have no experience. They don't have the confidence. You got to give them something.
Yeah,
as a coach, you got to be ready for everything.
You already have a Campaign and Deuce who can both be your backup point guards for Brunson. If something happens to Brunson, one of them can start and one of them can back up. And if something happens to Payne or Deuce, then you got Shamit coming back. And then if Kolek needs to play at that point, then you could possibly put him in then.
All right, here's what I'll say.
We've had that situation already.
Tell me you're not seeing this, all right? Everybody started complaining about how do we lose this game. We'll have a lead in the third quarter or whatever, and you say, oh, we lost the game. We'll lose 11 points. These guys are tired.
I knew it.
Tired.
But
think about the scheme that Tibbs run.
But we spoke about it earlier.
You got to have
the issue is the wings. The issue is the wings. It's the wing players. It's first of all, I want to talk about this. It's Brunson's poor defense that has Bridges sticking the point guards, which is wearing him out, and it's also OG playing these bigger players. So it's the lack of size. The 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" players that are not either good enough or that are not available, like a la Precious, who just got back, and Mitch, who's hopefully gonna play again this year. Like to me, those are the issues. The issue is not Campaign and Deuce McBride coming off the bench and what they've done, because they've actually been damn good.
And I'm not complaining about
the argument. If you're arguing for Dadier, that would probably be the most sense.
Exactly.
I argue about the 6'7", the height,
because it's a position of need. Kolek, this is what I'll say. Number one, Tibbs values what you're doing in the practice first, right? And I think he spoke highly of Kolek when he doesn't play and when he plays. So Tibbs has the confidence in Kolek. You know what I mean? But even in that, in practice, he must not be outplaying Deuce. He must not be outplaying Cam.
Doubt it.
I'm gonna have to go the old AI route. We talking about practice? Now I'm just messing with you.
Okay, I was about to say you must not know.
Well, let me
But
let me
hold
get
on, really
this
quickly.
real quick.
I want to throw this out
Wait,
there.
one second. Let me shout out Jason Benjamin. Appreciate the super chat. He says shout out to Mikal. He's been leading the NBA in plus minus in December. Also, he's tied with the Joker with 20 points per game, shooting 50% from the field, 40% from three. Only two guys in December doing that.
Facts.
Joker.
Appreciate it. I had the stat in the back burner, but salute and appreciate the super chat. Go ahead, Delusional.
I think I think it's up to Tibbs, honestly, and the placements with the positions, because from certain games that I saw, I haven't really seen OG play the small forward where you sit Mikal down and you have Cat at the 5 or Sims, and then they had Achua at the 4. You know, that hasn't been implemented. So he hasn't done that where you could give Mikal a couple of rests every now and then. I feel like OG is just playing pretty much just power forward throughout this run. If Tibbs can kind of alternate that, then that can put, you know, less pressure on certain guys, certain individuals. I think OG is definitely tired. He was hot from the beginning of the season, giving us great numbers. Now he's cooling off. Why? Because he's banging, he's in transition, still playing phenomenal defense.
Yes.
He's
But
playing
the
his best defense though.
best 100%. But
So
now
I think that correlates with each other. Pardon me.
no, because remember, he was technically our third best player. Mikal is now transitioning over,
Mhm.
but OG is still getting those shots and he's not making it. You know, before he was making those spacious shots. Now, if you have everybody shooting over 40%, now that creates more space for who? For Jalen to go to work. So if OG is not knocking down those shots, now you could drag off of OG, you know, double team, shrink the court. So there's certain things right now that's looking different while offense has kind of been, it's still top notch. But OG is definitely the key aspect to where I figure he's tired right now. He's definitely a little burnt out. And if we can just alternate, move him, play less minutes, have Achua play a little bit more at the 4. You could go with Bridge at the 3. You could go with Deuce or, you know, that certain lineup that they've done. Just mix it up. It don't necessarily have to bring in the rookies. Just kind of mix up that lineup in certain games where we can match certain areas. I think we'll be fine, to be
But
honest.
Delusional, Towns and Bridges do play. Towns and Precious does play together. But I agree with you. When Towns and Precious is playing together, it is Hart or Bridges at the 3. It's not Anunoby, right? I'm not buying the getting burnt out. I just think that OG had a good run offensively. I think that teams are onto him. Not necessarily as far as hitting a 3-point shot. You open, you hit it, or you're not. But I mean in terms of how he was posting guys up, how he was ducking in the lane, getting the ball underneath the basket, how he was driving in the lane with the turnaround jumpers. I just think teams are on to OG Anunoby. As well as he played, I'm not sure he's that dude that's gonna be where he lives at. He has that ability, don't get me wrong. I'm not sure he's that guy where he can live at the level at which he was playing earlier in the
See,
season.
for me, I see it different. I do see him as tired, not in the sense of like blaming Tibbs and minutes wise. I think he's upped his ante on defense. He's averaging 2 blocks a game last 7 games straight. Like it's visible what he's been doing defensively on like a 10 to 15 game stretch. I also think that's taking away from his energy and effort offensively, especially given that it was a conscious effort recently to increase or kind of build Bridges up. You know what I mean? Ever since that talking point, Bridges has kind of been more of a focal point from the team, but also individually he's been stepping up. So I think the offense hasn't been the issue. Like Queen said, he's capable on any given night. I don't think it's going to be every given night. Even his shot attempts are down in recent stretches, which that was one of the highlights of his offensive performance. He was getting upwards of 14 attempts. Now he's back down to like 11 attempts. You know what I mean? So I
8
think
last night.
8 last night. Yeah.
That was
So
9.
so
It was 9.
I think that has a lot to do with it. But I rather OG maximized on defense because what he brings there and the effect that it has on the team is undeniable. When he's great offensively, yeah, that's a plus.
Icing on the cake.
Yeah, it's icing on the cake. So I'd rather take that when it comes and him be the ace defender that he's been over the last like 15 game stretch for sure.
Now, honestly, for you guys, really quick, you think, granted, the lineup of when OG pretty much was playing small forward for us when we had Julius at the 4, that's obviously when the Knicks were their best. For the most part, we still had Julius to bang with the 4s. OG kind of locked up the bigger small forwards. Wouldn't a lineup of that, obviously, when if Mitch get back, would you see Tibbs playing Brunson at the 1, Mikal at the 2, OG at the 3, Cat at the 4, Mitch at the 5 at a certain point?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
thought about that, bro.
It may not start. It may not be the starting lineup, but
it might be the finisher.
That'll be our best defensive lineup.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I wouldn't finish with that.
I mean, you can get better with Deuce, obviously, but you know what I mean. That'll be our best. Yeah, I think we'll
defensively rebounds. Yeah,
because now you could bring Hart off the bench, someone that can give you 20 points if you need in the hustle. You got Deuce, then of course it's Precious, so that tightens up that bench a little bit where you can maneuver things. So that's
I don't think it's gonna.
Not starting, okay. Just in general, you could kind of match it up.
I agree.
Yeah, I look forward to that. It seems like since Wemby joined the league, it's like every team has gotten taller and longer since last season. You look at Orlando, it's like every player looks like they're 6'11", 7'7", and their arms, they've got like Plastic Man arms. Atlanta's got this, on their team too. And like, this Knicks team right now is absolutely undersized. And I got to beat the horse again. This is why I can't even, like, Kolik's my guy. Like I was saying, draft Kolik, but I'm not thinking about Kolik right now because the guard play is too good. It's too good for me to worry about him getting minutes. The issue on this team is that we're undersized.
Correct.
That's what we need to be focusing on. And I don't think that, whenever I'm just gonna say when Mitch returns, I'm gonna put that energy out there. When Mitch returns, he's missed too many games to just throw him in the starting lineup, and the team has too many moving parts to just like kind of like you force it too quickly. So you've got to. That's got to be a slow, progressive process to kind of put him and Cat in there together, and you lose so much of the fluidity that the team has developed on offense that it's like anything else. There's going to be some give and some take, and it's just going to be interesting to see it. But I'm looking forward to it.
And to Jan's point earlier, that he missed preseason, he missed summer league, he missed everything, so he's got to work his way back into the rotation, into being comfortable, conditioning, etc. So
I'm happy to have him and what he brings as the backup center, let alone having him in there with Cat. So either way, let's get him in there, please. Mitch, please.
Shout out to Jason Benjamin again with the super chat. He says the only way we get our defense better is to move Precious to the 4 and move Hart to the bench. We can't complain about our defense, but not want Precious starting. I mean, I wanted Precious.
If I know Queen.
I mean, listen, Josh Hart is better than Precious Achiuwa. Yeah. And that's just the bottom line. I mean, you guys want and listen, I want size too. Do not get me wrong. I want the Knicks, but I'm not going to just put somebody in just because they're taller.
Mm-hmm.
When Josh is rebounding for you, he's defending for you, he's that connector, he's moving the ball for you, he's getting you, good looks. I just think that's a tough call. However, you don't have to start to play that lineup, though. You don't have to start to play lineups with Precious Achua, and I think that's the most important thing.
I wanted Precious to start from the beginning of the year, but that was pre-injury, right? That was with Hart having a horrible preseason. That was with Precious seemingly playing better and looking more comfortable than he ever did. Currently, I wouldn't make that change. Number one, Hart has been phenomenal this year, from beginning to now of the season. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of solidified his role. You can't really blame him for any mishaps too much this year. Like he's gone above and beyond in production, and then he's been steady in all year. So it's tough to make that judgment call currently. And again, going back to that missing time, Precious ain't where he was coming in, you know what I mean, pre-injury, and you know what I mean, based off of the preseason and everything. He hasn't reached that comfort level yet. Let him earn his way and fight his way back. Maybe by the end of the, you know what I mean, maybe later in the year you make a change.
All-star break.
You know what I mean, but there's no reason to do that right now when it ain't broke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to your point, Queen, I agree. And you could play that. You can make a sub at any time. 2 seconds in, 1 second. You know what I mean? 5 minutes in. You make a sub at any
be
point.
The first player off the bench.
Game.
And Precious is going to play the same amount of minutes, even if you start him. He's not going to play more minutes than Josh Hart, and he's not going to close games either.
Yeah, I mean, he's capable. We all know that. But yeah, given the way the roster's constructed. But yeah, remember he led us in minutes by necessity at one point last year for like a long 20 game stretch. Led the league in minutes as well. So he fits that same mold as the Ananobis, as the Bridges, that, you know, if Tibbs leans on him, he gonna lean on him. His minutes can be up. I don't know whose expense it will be, or if somebody's out that is gonna cause it, but he's capable. Any other comments on like this game or where we are right now before I switch topics?
Really quickly, since we're in the defensive end, and we've been talking about size and defense, you know, what about Hakaporti? What are your thoughts on Hakaporti? You know, a player that, you know, when we weren't getting all those offensive rebounds or defensive rebounds against Atlanta, you know, we didn't even see that insert from Tibbs with a certain size aspect. You know, how do we feel about Hakaporti? And you think, like, what is Tibbs not seeing in him that he can't? Because when he was getting minutes, he was leading the team in block shots. This was obviously before Cat gotten a little better, but he were blocking shots, boxing out pretty well. And there was one game where he actually finished. I mean, it was roughly, I think, like the last 5 minutes, but he was in there during that time period, and we kind of won that game. I believe it was against the Nets. So it's like, why he can't, you know, insert that in not all games, in spurts. You know, when you see that certain things is not working, you know, you add that in. Is that because they haven't practiced together first? Like, I'm just trying to wrap my thought process on why we're not utilizing him just a little bit more.
I think the better question is what aren't we seeing? You know what I mean? Because we're not in the practices. Because that's the only, you know what I mean?
When he's on the floor, he's better than Jericho Sims.
I think I was making this argument for the longest, but there's statistical numbers out there that back up what Sims is doing on the floor. And even when I wasn't high on Sims and I was calling for Hakaporti, I had to give credence to the fact that if nothing else that I could see before I seen the statistical stuff out there, he rebounds the ball. You know what I mean? Like consistently and solidly, and that's part of the defensive end. You know what I mean? So it's not just, you know, necessarily blocking shots, which he's capable of, or defending the rim, which he does, but he comes down with the rebound at the end of the play that closes out the defensive play. But I was making this argument earlier, so I'm not defending.
Do you notice
anything.
that when he's on the court, he other than Carl Anthony Towns are big. He get more points, more lobs, or more pick and rolls to the basket. He puts himself in position. Like he. I'm not gonna say have a higher
He's
IQ
fluent.
than Sims, but he seems to know where to be, where Sims be still stumbling and bumbling.
He's fluent. He's active.
Sims is active. He get the rebounds. He get the blocks. But Hooker Porty, to me, he's more efficient. Honestly, when it comes to offense and defense, he's like I said. When you see the guys in there, they're watching Tibbs. You know what I'm saying? It plays a part with their confidence. He give him that minutes. I ain't saying no more than 3 minutes. Just to spare him, like Queen said, spare. I'm not talking about, get in there. I want 15 minutes. No. Spare these guys some time. Okay, this guy, Hart. Hart was tired last night. He barely had much lift on his layups. He got into the game late, but he was tired. He disappeared most of the night. You know what I'm saying? The defense he got to do to exert a lot of energy, the scheme that Tibbs run. I'm just saying, give the guys 3-4 minutes, come back in. You know what I'm saying? But Hooker Porty, to me, I think he should be on the floor before Jericho Sims. That's just my
ain't even on the floor now.
He got that ankle. You got that ankle.
I don't even think it's the ankle. His minutes diminished almost immediately once Precious came back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that too. But I know he's dealing with the ankle right now. But I would like to see him more.
Real quick, Jason Benjamin again, appreciate you. He said, "I've seen many players blow by Josh. If we're being honest,
listen, you're gonna see that with any player.
Every player at some point, game
no
in
doubt
game.
About
His intangibles is, you can't put a price on it.
It's always a give and take. When you're talking about moving somebody in, no player is perfect, right? So Precious may give you something that Josh Hart doesn't give you, but there's a few things that Josh Hart gives you that Precious is not going to give you. So when you start making that change, you can't just make the change because, we're going to be better at rim protection. Okay, how are we going to do in terms of transition? How does that impact us in terms of transition points? How does that impact our rebounding? Because Josh Hart rebounds out of his position, like out of his physical position. So you have to, when you're going to make a change like that, the coaching staff has to look at how does that impact the team all around. It helps us here, but does it help? Where does it take away? They have the stats for that to make.
He's one. It's a give and take because, like I said, I've been one of the first people on the start Precious over Hart. Everybody had their preference, you know what I mean. But pardon me. But yeah, everybody had their preference. But again, it's a give and take. Like the rebounding. Precious is a good rebounder, so that may not really be a give and take in particular. And then in the defense of that side, I don't think Josh role, play style, I don't think anything changes. Production, I don't think anything changes if he is moved to that second unit. I will say that. But then you do got to look at, what are you losing with him not there, and what are you gaining, and does
that first unit, things running smoothly?
He's one of the few guys that pushes the pace.
He put that pressure on the other team, boy.
In that first unit,
yeah,
you know what I mean. So, like attacking the basket, 1-man fast break.
He only got to go up the court and score. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we're not a fast
nobody
team,
stopping
so
me.
If you're taking that away from the starting unit, we become slower theoretically.
He pushed the pace.
I think there's things you could argue on both sides of it. One thing I'll say though is I trust Tibbs. You know what I mean? Like the track record has been proven.
Number 3, we complain, but the man, look what he done for the team. So it feel good to be a Knicks fan now. I'm just gonna be real with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, we had to live through it. You know what I'm saying? Parties, barbecues. It feels really good to be walking to the room and, you know what I'm saying? We're like, you know what I'm saying? What you talking about? We might win the chip this year. You know what I'm saying? So it feels good to have that conversation now, man.
Yes, sir. The Knicks and Bruises.
And it's because of Tibbs and Leon Rose. But like Queen said, nothing's perfect.
I got some slides I'm gonna throw up. We might lose somebody in visual, but y'all still here. But let me get to these. Oh, here we go. My bad. Pardon me. And pardon me. Oh, we all here, so we good. Delusional. So this is just a stat I seen from StatMuse. Shout out to StatMuse, Nick Muse. We spoke about earlier. Karl Anthony Towns is currently leading the league in rebounds. Shout out to him for that. I really was like looking at trying to make an argument for the MVP. Honestly, when I was trying to doing my research, because I thought Cat might have a chance. I think he'll be in the conversation, but I think hands down, is Joker. Joker is like 2 in points per game, 2 in assists, 2 in rebounds in in the league in all 3 categories. So it's gonna be a tough run, but you know what I mean, these guys is up there. You got Brunson at 25 points a game. That's 12th in the league. Cat right behind him with 24.5, I think, or 24.9. Damn near 25 as well. Or 13th in the league in points per game. Somebody brought it up. Queen, you brought it up. The Knicks moved up to 16th in defensive rating, where we was at what 26.
Was it that low?
No, we was at 17 last night.
No. I'm talking about like early in the year. Like
we was
because like a week ago we was at 19, and I was like, oh, we're moving in the right direction.
The funny thing about it, we was like back in defense and number 1 in offense, and then I'm like,
when we was 1 in offense, we was like 23rd, maybe 26, somewhere between that in defense, and we're slowly creeping up. And I didn't think that we could get to the top 10. Sim has been asking this question on numerous shows every couple of weeks. Do you think we could get to the top 10? And I've been consistent, and no, I'm like maybe 12, whatever. But currently 13. Huh?
That's where I'm at too, like 12.
How about when Mitch come back?
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, I mean, I thought number one, I thought when we needed Mitch to come back to kind of even reach the 12 that I was projecting to be honest. And this is because we were so far back early in the year. But right now, Cavaliers are 9th at 111. The Heat are 10th at 111.6. Mavericks 11 at 12.4. Bucks 13.1. Sixers 13.3. So now we're getting in percentage points of a difference to get to 12. 13.1 is 12. We at 13.7. And we've, even when I didn't think we could get there, I was willing to put money on it. I still haven't looked this stat up, but I was willing to put money on that we were the team that kept teams under 100 the most. You know what I mean? And I don't know if we're number 1 still, but I guarantee we're in the top 5 of keeping teams under 100 points this year. So yeah, if we keep throwing in these under 100 points performances for the other team periodically and still not having them go crazy, even in the games we've lost, you know what I mean? We lost because they outscored us, but the point differential, you know what I mean? They wasn't scoring 130, 140, 120. You know what I mean? We haven't been giving up those games other than Boston. So I changed my tune.
There's a chance.
There's a very good chance that we could get to the top 10. We're trending that way, and it still hasn't really looked pretty yet. You know what I mean? Or it hasn't looked. We haven't done it in the way that we're used to doing it from a Tibbs team. You know what I mean? We've been down on McCall defensively. I was down on OG earlier in the year defensively. I thought their roles should have switched in a lot of aspects, but they're figuring it out. You know what I mean? McCall's stepped up defensively. You could see the fight in him fighting over the screens now. That wasn't really there early in the year. I don't know if that was schematically they were switching or whatever, but you can see it. You know what I mean? The difference. I think we could get there for sure, for sure. And yeah, I'm excited about that. Comments on that, and then I'm gonna keep going with these slides and bring you guys in and out.
All right, I guess I'll take it off. I agree with you, Tony. Definitely top 10, but it ultimately depends on what we do. So you have the trade deadline. Are we going to make a move prior before? Are we going to get a wing that we can bring off the bench that could lock down? So if we do that, what are we trading Precious or we trading Mitch? That's one option where we can definitely kind of bolster that up. And then, of course, you can add Hakaporti. He can play, who has done great off of the in drop coverage. I think that's our biggest issue. Cat in the drop coverage, he's still trying to figure out if I could, stay with the big or come out and stop the roller. So Hakaporti does that well. But if we bring in Mitch, that clears all that up. You get the offensive rebounds, you get someone that could play in the drop coverage, someone that'll block shots. That's a threat. We don't have an interior threat to where you're second guessing coming into that paint. That's what Mitch played a role in, as well as Hartenstein. So we don't have a deterrent in that paint. So maybe that's an option that we do go out and get someone with size that can, strictly block shots. Knowing our front office, they have something cooking up. So that's why I feel comfortable to say that, yeah, we would 100%. If we're itching there right now, and for us, our defense kind of don't look as dominant or looking as effective as it can be, and we're still there, that's a no-brainer from my perspective on us. Hopefully, if the players can continue to play good, then we can definitely get there.
Listen, if you can get anywhere between 10 and 15 with what I believe can be a top 5 offense, I'm not as stressed about being a top 10 defensive team per se. But yeah, you give me a 12, 13, 14 ranked defense and a number 3, number 4 offense. I'm good with that.
Now, Shuttle, can I counter that real quick? From a perspective, do you think defense, well, the way the league is playing now, do defense win championship or offense?
Generally speaking, I gotta say it's offense, but even the best offensive teams can play good defense when needed. As much as we thought about the Splash Brothers, I mean, like there was some times where they were playing some good defense on those championship teams. Even Braun and the Cavs, the Spurs, the list goes on. So, I mean, OKC, as much as they got great weapons, like they're a pretty decent defensive team. When they're fully healthy. Boston, amazing offense, but them guys play some defense. So I think once you get to the playoffs and you get to the final 4 teams, you're not really gonna have you're not gonna have poor defensive teams at that point. You might run against a bunch of poor defensive teams throughout the season, and it may seem like the majority of the league doesn't play good defense. But when you get to where it matters most, where you want to be at, conference finals or finals, those teams are playing pretty good defense.
If I can answer the question, also, I think it depends on how good your offense is. The better your offense is, you can't be a bottom 10 defense. Don't get me wrong, you can't be a bottom 10 defense. But the better your offense is, the less great your defense has to be. And I would rather have a top 5 offense and a number 12 defense than a top 5 defense and a number 12 offense. Because the way these offenses are rocking in the NBA is only so much your defense is going to be able to do anyway. So don't get me wrong. In no way am I saying you don't need to play defense. That's not what I'm saying. You have to have an adequate defense. You need to be able to get stops. But your offense better be cooking, because and that's all the playoffs is about, taking away options. And the way the Knicks offenses right now, there's nothing you could take away. There's nothing you can. If the Knicks are good in recognition, seeing what the teams are trying to take away and exploiting it. You want to pack it in the key, we can hit the three. You want to take away the three, we can hit you in the paint. Whatever you want to do to us offense, there's nothing you could take away offensively, that we can't counter. Put it that way. So yeah, if the Knicks defense get to 12, I think it's good enough given the offense that has not even hit its ceiling yet, in my opinion.
So one question for you, Queen.
Mm-hmm.
You said 12 defense and 5th in offense, right? Do you think that'd be enough to get us out of the second round this year?
No doubt about it.
That's all I'm hoping. That's all I'm hoping.
Denver won a championship like that.
That's all I'm hoping. That's all I'm hoping.
The Knicks have the potential to be a better defensive team than that Denver team was.
That's a good point too. I think there's only been two games this whole year that we've had like those offensive, like there's been games we didn't have it all game offensively, but to have those gaps, you know what I mean, in the game where 4 minutes we couldn't score, 3 minutes, we were seeing that like once every 2 games last year, and I haven't seen that but maybe once or twice all year so far, where we had that offensive gap where we just couldn't score for 4 minutes, couldn't score for 6 minutes, couldn't score for 3 minutes. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think our offense is getting better and better.
Don't listen. The Knicks defense have to improve. I don't want nobody misconstruing what I'm saying, that the Knicks can have a raggedy defense and just because our offense is good, we good. That's not what I'm saying at all.
We're gonna get there though. I didn't believe it, but we're gonna break that top 10. We're gonna crack that top 10.
From your mouth to God is.
I'm gonna speed past some of this because we running out of time, and we got Queen's Court at 7:30. So, I'm gonna just give a synopsis. Sham said Mitchell Robinson is probably not gonna be back until at least January to February, early February.
Wow.
Kind of messing with the Knicks timeline. There's been reports that the Knicks are looking to either move Robinson or still add to the center depth. So my question for the panel is, should we wait on Mitchell Robinson or should we move on from Mitchell Robinson? And then I got a couple of candidates and options that I've seen floating around that we could break down and discuss. Me personally, I know Mitch is my guy, so I'm always gonna say wait on, but not definitively and completely he's off the table. If the right deal is out there and it's something that I think could help, I'm always gonna be for the team first over the player. But I've been asking this question throughout the year, and a lot of people I've been asking, well, if we're moving Robinson, what are you looking for in his return? A lot of the people, when they give the description of what they want, it describes Mitchell Robinson. So I'm like, if that's what you're looking for, you might as well wait him out. He has comfort, familiarity with the team, with the coach, with the system, and can be a benefit. So my answer is wait on, but with room to move on from him. I'll go across the board. What you guys think about at this point where Shuttle's like, if he even plays this year, you know what I mean? The timeline keep getting pushed back. Maybe that's a reason to move on if that's your reasoning. But what do you guys think? We could go right down the list: Queen, Shuttle, Delusional, Jan.
I think if we have an opportunity to move on from Mitchell Robinson, I think we should. Only because of the injury history, and that when he comes back, you just don't know what you're going to get, and you don't even know how long he's going to stay healthy. If you have an opportunity to get somebody similar to Mitchell Robinson, well, actually, I would like somebody similar to Hartenstein, actually. But if you can't do that, and you can get somebody similar to Mitchell Robinson who could play with Cat and play behind him, provide some rim protection, and has a relatively good health history, I think you do it.
Shuttle, I know you get some grace. I know you got a lot to say on this subject. So
Yeah, I don't want to kill Mitch out of respect for your platform, Tony. Uh, no, I'm just joking. I was joking. But yeah, man, listen, I've been down on Mitch since before the season even started. Um, I didn't expect him until way past the timeline that was initially already given when they said December. In my mind, it was January, February since they gave that. I thought that when they made the cat deal, that they already knew internally it was bad and he was damaged, and that's the only reason why the cat deal even happened. So, I just like I have no expectations. I have zero expectations. And I'm like, you got nothing else that you could trade on this team to get anything in return that's going to be of value to replace Mitch. You can only trade Mitch to get a Mitch replacement. He has no value, so how can you trade him? So I'm not even thinking about it. Yeah, I mean, basically, it's out of sight, out of mind, because you're not going to be able to get a deal done, including him, or get a deal done without including him. So listen, I'm just gonna just throw my hands up, and hopefully he comes back and he's valuable to the team. He's gonna come back too late to make a difference to trade him before the trade deadline. So it's just terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's awful. I'm disgusted, and I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I'm finished.
Queen to Queen's point earlier, she did say whether he's back or not, she wants center depth.
Just in case.
Yeah.
But my concern is the only player, the only person that you can really trade to get somebody of decent value and that has a contract that you can trade is Mitchell Robinson. I mean, okay, you got a Deuce 5-year contract. Do you really want to trade Deuce? Like, you got Precious, a $6 million contract. Are you gonna really get a replacement for Mitch of value? Somebody that you can actually play for $5-6 million. Do you really want to give those valuable players to the rotation to replace a player like Mitch? It's like, yo, it's a stuck, like it's a stuck under the rock situation right now. It's really, really, really terrible. Yeah, I'd love to trade him, but he's injury prone. So why do you want to take him? If why do you want to take an injury prone player that has another year on his contract? If he was expiring, we probably have a little bit more flexibility to pull something off right now. But he's got another year on the contract, and it's descending, so it's decent, but like you got to trade him. You got no draft picks to offset the lack of value you're gonna be giving another team. You gave up the first round picks, a couple second rounds, and Mitch is not going to do it. Like you got to entice somebody. So like the whole dealing Mitch thing it's not it's like the window is like there's no window for it. And praise this GM and this in this front office if they can pull off a deal that gets a player of value and they trade Mitch. Praise this front office if they do that because they pulled off a bunch of great moves. But if they do that,
That would not be their best trick so far. I will say that they've done too
but
much
the timing,
phenomenal things.
but the timing of it to bring somebody in of value right now, the timing of that move could be what propels this team to Eastern Conference Finals, NBA Finals.
That's fair. Jason Benjamin, he says, appreciate the super chat. He says, trade him. He's injury prone. I want Huck Porty more. I mean, I will say this: his value is probably at its lowest it's ever been. Right? That I don't even think you can dispute that. Anyone trading for him is banking on him making a full recovery and even remaining healthy because that's something that he hasn't been able to do. Do you can add this to your conversation on what you guys would want to do, but do you think it's complete BS that the organization is taking the slow approach and really trying to make sure he's right 100%, or do you think he's not good yet? You know what I mean? Like, because it seemed like anytime these reports come out on the deadline being pushed back, they don't give a reasoning behind it per se. They say the reasoning is the organization is trying to slow walk it, and you know what I mean. But they don't say there's a setback or anything of that nature. They have yet to say that, even though this is probably the third time they pushed the timeline back.
Yeah, I think it's good for them to be cautious with Mitch, even though we can use his help. You don't really want to rush him back. He come back, he gets hurt. You know, you know, let him be 100%. And just work his way into shape when he gets back.
I ain't gonna lie. When he put it on his Christmas list to play Christmas Day, I thought something was in the woodworks. I thought he was gonna be able to be back. Delusional.
So probably want to have a sentimental moment right now. So he's currently the longest tenured Nick. We draft him. We saw the growth from Skinny Mitch to Brocky Mitch. So I'm gonna bring out a point. So that Philly series, right? Knicks fans forget that Philly series. That, to be honest with you, we had a healthy iHeart, but Tibbs still went with Mitch. Right. Don't forget when Mitch was injured that first year under Tibbs, coming into training camp, he did not play at all. First game of the season, he got cleared. Who started? Mitch, who played over 30-something minutes, out of shape, all that. Mitch, right? So, yes, the Knicks had a tendency of bringing Mitch back early, not in shape, run him down in a sense. So with this approach, I think that this is a smart approach to where let's bring him back healthy. And at a pivotal time too, because if he could get his bearings later on at the end of the year, and then we start off the playoffs with a healthy Mitch, that's something to look forward to. Which is why, for me, I will keep Mitch. And like you said, that's a solid contract. That's a descendant contract. It'll be $12 million next year. You could pair that up with somebody else, and he's healthy going into the off season. You make that trade then. This year, I would ride it out. I would keep him, see what we can do. Because you never know, we might have another Philly series where we need to bang, or if it's potentially out west to where we have to go against Hartenstein or Jokic, those type of bigs. So I keep Mitch. Because apparently Tibbs is not rolling with Hakapori. You literally have a similar version per se of someone that's on the bench that you can at least see what you have now, and he's not going that route. So that should tell you how he feels about Hakapori.
Let me ask you this though, Delusional. When we say in rock with Mitch, we rolling the dice. Like it's like this is a different situation. This is not like let's wait for Mitch. We know this is just I don't know an ankle injury. When he comes back, it's just a matter of time. It's going to be 100%. With Mitch, we don't know what we're going to get. We are rolling the dice. So the question is, we're basically rolling the dice on our season, basically waiting for Mitch.
in assuming we have to include Mitch in the trade, I don't know if I would say no, I'm not including him. If it's somebody available that's healthy, that's ready to go, that can help us now. Like I wouldn't do that when I say wait on Mitch. But if we could bring in some depth, some center depth as we're waiting for Mitch, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
There's no way we can do that without getting. If we're not going to use Mitch contract, in order to do that, we got to get rid of the rookies, put a rookie in the trade, McBride or Precious.
I got some slides. We're gonna talk about it real quick.
Right, but that's including Mitch, though.
No, not all of them.
Oh, okay, all right.
Not all of them.
Okay, all right.
I mean, ultimately, it really depends on what the team wants to do. I know early in the year, one of the biggest, probably under the radar moves that the Knicks did was they increased their medical team, right? Which is like, I believe they brought in like one of the top medical guys in the world, in the sports industry onto that. So his insight is probably very pivotal with the direction of what they go with. So maybe he's telling them, no, guys, there's a way. If we take this approach, Mitch can be effective. He can heal that certain bone or whatever. And, you know, obviously with dieting, maybe slimming down, things of that nature, we can work with that. So that can be an option that where they're going. Who knows? Who knows? So, but for me, yes, Queen, I would 100%, I would take that risk because he's proven to us on a limp ankle that he's still effective. You know, so I would take that chance with going in with a 95 Mitch, that he can actually do something for us. Hopefully,
That's
it's
not what I
100.
mean. The fact that you don't do anything and the trade deadline passes and what have you, and then we find out that Mitch is not coming back. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then that's where I was leaning more so of I think Hakaporti could fill that role on the big aspects. For us, what we talked about is the wing. I think the wing is more of a situation for us. Now, would you trade Mitch for a wing? Or would you trade Mitch for a center to help out? So that's where we don't know the direction that they want to do. Me per se, if I'm trading Mitch, it would have to be for a crazy 3-and-D player because you could just bring in Hakaporti to give you those minutes.
I think we overrating Hakaporti. I think Hakaporti is really good in terms of counting stats, but you also have to look at positioning. Like that's the stuff we don't have access to. Like that's the stuff that the coaching staff had access to with Sims. With Sims, to the eye test, didn't seem to be in me anyway, getting knocked around, didn't have good hands. But as far as the advanced stats are concerned, from what I'm understanding, he was where he needed to be.
Right.
Porty is definitely has a higher ceiling than Jericho Sims. He has better hands. He has better offense. To me, he seems to be more active and have a better rebounding. But we don't have the advanced metrics to see, is he where he's supposed to be? That takes time. So when you're talking about not getting a veteran center and we just gonna go with Hagporty, I think we're just going off the eye test. We need that other stuff too. Is he where he's supposed to be defensively? I don't know if you've ever played basketball with somebody that's never where they're supposed to be. It's like, yo, so that's the part we don't have.
And I wouldn't be surprised if
That's how I feel about Jericho Sims.
I wouldn't, but that's the
It
thing.
looks
I
that
wouldn't
way,
be.
but that's not the case. But it does look.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tibbs has those same stats and analytics off of practice. That's how much he values the practice. That's how much he wants you to play your practice, do your practice like it's the game, because he's evaluating you off of that. You know what I mean? But I agree. Like for the average viewer, you know what I mean. We couldn't see them statistics from Sims, and on the reverse side, in the average viewer, we looked at Hagporty like, yo, he's worlds away from Sims. You know what I mean? Like he's better right now without the grasp yet. But obviously, there's something that we're not seeing. You know what I mean? That the staff is. Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
Last year, I was one of my main shows. I was doing Kai Soto. Kai Soto played over there, Australia, right where Hooker came from. I watched Hooker play before he came to the Knicks. I'm just saying that I think he's a better player than Sims. I watched him. I would stay up 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll be watching these games. And what I seen of him with the right point guard, like when he's on the court, I never seen Jalen Brunson throw that many alley-oops to a center. Even with Mitch on the floor. You know what I'm saying? So the thing about him being in the right place at the right time, to me, he always at the right place at the right time. I only see him nervous when he come out there because he's ready. He's just like Toppin was, one mistake and Tibbs is like, come on, let's go. But he's out there to spare minutes. But I think he will turn into that Mitchell Robinson. Because just think about when Mitchell Robinson first was a rookie. We was excited. People still saying we don't know where he at, this and that. And look what he turned into. You know what I'm saying?
And I think you're misunderstanding at least what I'm saying.
I know.
Hagporty is a better player than Sims. He has a higher ceiling than Sims. He's going to be a better player than Sims. I'm not arguing that. What I'm saying is if you ask me, if we're going into the playoffs, do I want to go with a rookie center or do I want to go with a veteran center? I'm going to always pick a veteran center for a championship contending team. That's all I'm saying.
I know, but see, you're looking at him as a rookie, but you're forgetting that he's not coming from college. He's coming from the second best league on the planet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he's already a professional.
I
You know
understand, but he's not an NBA professional. He's a little ahead of rookies coming from college. I definitely agree. But for me personally, I would rather an NBA vet over a first-year player coming from a European league.
The good thing is he's in the roster. He's on the roster, and he's part of the staple. You know what I mean? So, worst case scenario, God willing, by necessity, if he needs to see the time, he'll get it. And then, you know what I mean, if he works his way into that role, I also believe he get it. I'm gonna save the rest of this for another show. I should be back on tomorrow and Thursday. So yeah, I'll get to the Mitch potential trade options either tomorrow or Thursday. I do want to shout out Drugs Only. And I think you started, but I watched you as you started, Queen. So
thanks for that.
Landry Fields, he's back. He's in Westchester right now.
He's playing right now.
Landry Shamet
going off.
Not Landry Fields.
I feel you, Queen. That's why I felt like that.
Not Landry Fields.
I said that.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's all right.
Before you go,
my bad.
Do you think if he came back, how would that second unit defense be? Because he was playing some good defense in the preseason.
Surprisingly, too.
Surprisingly. I didn't know him for that.
Yeah, we still a little short, though. He was like 6'4". And Tibbs was definitely felt comfortable running that 3-guard lineup in preseason.
I think he'd be good at the offense.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Like, what it does is it doesn't alleviate minutes for OG. It doesn't alleviate minutes for
nobody.
For nobody.
It's into the rotation.
Maybe Hart gets but as far as necessity,
he's gonna be real short if you put Hart and unit.
No, I was saying maybe Hart loses the minutes and you playing OG because of the defense, but then you losing Hart's rebounding, which you may need with a 3-guard lineup. As funny as it is with him being 6'4", but I appreciate everybody. I'm gonna give you guys your last words, and we're gonna jump over on Queen's Court. We start with you, Queen, and then if you want to jump out and
man, this was great, Tony. Delusional. What is it, Jan? Did I get that right? Jan, come back, man. Come back.
January.
Thank you. Like Jan Brady. Blame my daddy.
Okay. That's cool.
All aboard, man. Listen, Tony, glad to be back. It's been a minute. This Saturday, Toy Drive, brunch party, Ben's Crab, Valley Stream, DJ Shuttle, DJ Straight Live, Hollywood Chuck. We got you early, Queen. We got you early. We can get you out of the door by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock.
What time it start?
6 o'clock.
6 p.m.?
6 to 11.
All right. I just looked it up. Valley Stream, not that far from me. I'm a Canarsie girl right now.
Let's go.
Just want to say thank you. Glad to meet some of you for the first time. I think did I meet Queen before? I think I was on the show with Queen once. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Delusional, on point. DJ, you feel the same way I feel about Mitch. So we good. We definitely good. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say thank you for having me and giving me the exposure.
Listen, Just Nick and a weekly show on Thursdays. If you want to stop by, you're definitely welcome to join that panel in Delusional whenever you're in town. We would love to see you.
Oh yeah, no, I'm there Wednesday. I know we got a game Thursday, so I'm there Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday. We going Wednesday.
That's gonna be it. I'm waiting for that Thursday game.
Yeah, me too.
You
got Jan's contact.
Email, he got my email and number.
Yep.
And number. All right. You mind if I
feel free.
I text you the link and stuff like that? Okay.
Yeah.
Delusional, man. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Definitely felt like I never left though. So that's a good panel, good family show. Appreciate you guys. Definitely Shuttle, your intake. Queen is always top knowledge. Jan, is a pleasure. And Tone, definitely the orchestrator. Thank you for putting it together though. Appreciate y'all.
No doubt, man. I know you tied up, but whenever you back and putting your stuff out, you know what I mean, let me know. We'll definitely post the links and let everybody know you back.
Appreciate that.
Yo, Cole, you can give your boy Shuttle my email. I want to check out that Valley Stream thing.
That's a fact.
Put it in my calendar right now with like
I'm
3 notifications.
I'm gonna text them. I'm gonna text both of them.
Instagram
Or-
at DJ Shuttle NYC. Keep in tune.
Yeah, no doubt.
And yeah, shout out to the chat, the replay game, the super chats, Brian, Benjamin, pardon me. And yeah, man, I see y'all on the Jason Benjamin at see y'all in Queen's Court. What time you going on Wednesday, Queen?
9.
9. All right.
You,
I might make
it's
that.
a forever link. So if you got it,
I might make it. Yeah, shout out to the chat. Until next time, your blackest time. We out.